This is not just a message from the Council of 12. It is the voice of a long-held prophecy in this land, asking to be heard and fulfilled. Australia carries the dreaming of peace, while the North shakes, and it certainly is. The South steadies. This land remembers Lemuria's promise, a civilization in harmony with the earth and the cosmos. That promise was buried when fear rose. But now it breathes again. The prophecy is not far off. It is alive now. And all who are tuned to this land, wherever they live, may receive its codes and become anchors of peace. Hi, beautiful souls. Thank you for coming to my channel. And if you feel this information is beneficial, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. I love your comments, and I do respond to as many as I can. So I've been drawn to do this video because of the chaos around part of the world. And I say part of the world really strongly because somebody said to me at Brekkie on Monday, oh, the world is really in chaos. And I looked at her and I said, is it? And she said, yes, it's in chaos. And I said, you said the world. And you know, I'm pretty fussy about words because we speak them without recognizing what we're saying. And I said, not the whole world isn't in chaos. What I'm seeing is that the areas of this globe, the lands that have still got to do their shadow work, you know how we have all had to do our shadow work? Well, we're the microcosm of the macrocosm. So if this earth is to elevate itself into, which it is doing, into its evolutionary state of a higher state of consciousness, the lands that still hold shadow need to do their shadow work. In other words, all their stuff needs to come up. It needs to be transformed into love and harmony. So when we see this occurring, if we then come to the conclusion that the world is in chaos, we are instantly feeding the beast, as I call it. So be really, really attentive about the words that you speak and where you address your attention. Because to me, the world is not in chaos. To me, the parts of the world as we see it, which is the countries and the land, and there's far more to this globe than that. But all the chaos, the political chaos, and it's all about the dismantling of governments and governmental structures in so many countries because they will not serve us where we are going. That is the shadow work. It needs to be changed. It needs to be changed to something that is more people-oriented, more in harmony with the land, with the cosmos, with the people, with all the living creatures of this planet, on the land and in the waters and in the air. Any of that has not been honored, it has not been supported, it hasn't been valued, all of that needs to come to the surface, because as we are raising our frequency into the new earth, that all has to be not part of it. It cannot be part of it, because the higher state of consciousness is a vibrational frequency where none of that can exist. So let's see it for what it truly is. Not disaster, not terrible things happening, but look at it is a sign. It is a sign that the shadow work is being done by the earth. It is also, it's an entity, it's a living being. It's not just a rock we're sitting on. And it is doing its shadow work. It is removing and transforming all that is not able to transition into the high frequencies of the fifth dimension and beyond, which is where it's traveling to. It is taking its rightful position back into the galactic configuration. So be very aware of how you look, what lens you're looking through at, if you are focusing on what's happening anywhere else but where you are. Because it's also bringing us back to the present, Can I save the world? Absolutely not. And I wouldn't even begin to try. A little overwhelming. Can I change my world? Absolutely, and I have. Can I create new Earth vibrational frequency in my environment, in my relationships, in my land? Yes, I can. That I can do. And if everyone on this planet would come to that realization and focus only on that, we would out of all the chaos really quickly. But there are still too many people on the planet that get invested and drawn in by whatever media that they follow to the chaos and the things, because we've been so programmed to look for drama. And funnily enough, in the new Earth, look, there's not much drama. No, not really. There's just this wonderful inner peace, this gentleness of the land and the people and all that surrounds us, because we know that we're all connected. Everything is created and fueled and fed by Source, Prime Creator, quantum field of all that is, whatever you want to call that which is the source of energy that creates all things. So let's just go back to this prophecy. You know, I've spoken many times of my absolute privilege of meeting Dolores Cannon in the very early 90s. And it was just such, when I think back on, I always feel it, I always smile. I smile at, for first impressions, right? So there weren't many of us, because in those days there were very few people that had heard the call and answered the call to awakening. So when I was invited to this particular lecture, and I walked in, it was a very small room, and I think there were only about 12 of us, and there wasn't anyone there yet that would look like they were going to give us some really important information. And then in walked this lady, and she was carrying, lots and lots of bags. My mind said, oh, that looks like a bag lady. And she had all sorts of, cylinders under her arms and these plastic bags she was carrying, and she put it all down, and I thought, oh, I think she's in the wrong place. And of course she wasn't, because that was beautiful Dolores Cannon. She never changed her image, did she? She was just this beautiful lady down the street coming in with her shopping bags. And I just took her into my heart that very day. And the privilege of being able to be in such close proximity and to be able to ask questions and to be able to connect with her on a personal basis has always stayed deeply in my heart. So she then proceeded to tell us all about the prophecy of Australia in the big picture, and where we were going and how we were going through this evolutionary process, which of course by then I already had been told about by my council, and I was on my path, although a real newbie I was. And so she gave us this vision, right, which is so aligned with my council's guidance. And she talked about the codes held in the land. And so she then opened all these maps and she showed us where, um, from where we were looking at it at that time. And I really want to stress that because at that time, look, there wasn't even a quarter of a percent of people who were waking up to the realization that ascension was in place, that this planet was going. We were all in survival mode, right? Okay, we just had to make ends meet. And so that was sort of really implanted in us, in our mentality, and it's all that we seemed to focus on. But it was waking up slowly, right? We were awakened. We were, I think they now call us first wave. Look, all those labels mean nothing. First wave, second wave, third wave, who cares? I don't know. I just know what I know about me and where I was and how I looked at it and how it expanded me or it didn't expand me. Well, I was certainly expanded that particular evening. And so when she showed us how the lands would all shift from where we were at the time as a consciousness, as a collective consciousness, which was pretty contracted. And she showed us what would happen and the floods that would come and the volcanic eruptions and how the tectonic plates were going to be shifting and the lands were going to be shifting and how the ice was good on the poles was going to melt and that was going to cause floods. And it was really a little bit of a not such an uplifting picture. But then she talked about Australia and the southern hemisphere, and she was talking about the ancient prophecy of the first, not even the First Nation peoples as we know it, because there were people before that. And there was a prophecy that was encoded into this land. And as she explained to us how all the things were going to change and all the lands were going to change and all um, the boundaries were going to, the continents were going to change. The one continent was going to be most stable and steady was this land of Australia, because it was to be the root chakra of the new earth. And she then started to talk about the separation of the earth. Not, well, at the beginning, I used to see two earths. The council used to draw me two earths. But of course, they weren't separate, they're just superimposed upon each other vibrationally. And it was only last week that I came across this amazing video, which was all about Dolores Cannon talking about her many discoveries and predictions from her work and describing which continent was going to, or which land was going to be the most safe to be in. And of course, it was Australia. So I've actually put the link to that video below in the description box for you to watch. And it was for me just such confirmation. I just had to smile and I thought, well, there it is. And what she discussed was three things that had to change for all the peoples and all the land, for the land. And for a land to be safe, it had to have a low karmic density. In other words, there was to be not, like for instance with the Second World War, it was all up there, and it was tragic. I mean, I was born into it, so I know, I lived there. So the land has to have low karmic density. Now, I'm not saying that there was never any war here, or that we didn't, that because we're all programmed into separation and into competition and opposition. So no, but we didn't have the level of karmic density that other countries have had. So that was the first thing that was necessary. The second thing she talked about was high crystalline energy. And there is a very high crystalline energy in this country, particularly in the red center of this beautiful continent. And then the third one was the foundation of unity consciousness. In other words, we had to have less division than in other lands. We needed to be one people. And even though there are disruptions, and there are people who say, you are better than the other. And look, let's just realize that the human um, being is still finding its way into unity consciousness. But on this land, mostly Aussies are pretty laid back people, and their greatest interest is footy, the barbecue with the family, and off to the beach. And it's not a great description, is it? But it is a lovely, lovely life. We don't really get our knickers in a knot too much down here. Even though at the present a lot of people are attempting to do the same things as they do in the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm hoping that some of you that are doing that are listening to me and will cease. Do not think you have to join those that are going through their shadows. This video is all about us stepping up and honoring the code of this land and the prophecy that we are living here for a purpose. And that purpose is specifically here. And we need to honor that. So Dolores spoke of Australia as a living prophecy. The land chosen to hold peace, neutrality, and the birthing template of the new earth. Now I'm going to say that again. The land that was chosen to hold peace, neutrality, and birthing template of the earth. Now, if you at the moment are feeling that you have to, for some reason, focus on somebody else's distortions of right and wrong, I beg you, will you please come back to where we are and anchor peace in your community, peace in your own world, right? Let's get rid of the better than, or the all of this destabilizing frequency that the world's been experiencing. We just need to give it up, because when the world wobbles, this land steadies the field. That is the prophecy. So, as always, and look, I'm just going to alter my light because I've got sun coming in and out, and it's a little bit, that's better. Okay, so as always, the council has given me this invocation, and I would like to read it to you. But as I read it, can you just bring all of your attention here to this moment, to this land, and really firmly plant your feet on this land and put your hands on your heart and acknowledge that all who are here on this land at this time, irrespective of your ethnicity, of your ancestry, you've been brought here for a purpose. And that purpose is not to fight someone else's battles. Let them do their shadow work. Send them love. Send them compassion. And let's be the light. Let's be the root chakra for the new earth of peace, harmony, and well-being. So, take a deep breath and just be open. Open your heart and your soul, and you will know that this is for you. So this is the invocation. I call now to the ancient ones of the land, to the custodians of songlines and stone, to the waters, the trees, and the sky above. I honor the dreaming that holds the prophecy, that when nations tremble, Australia rise as the anchor of peace, and the new earth shall be born through us. And that's very important to remember. It's through us that it's born. With humility and love, I ask to be a voice for this land, that the codes it holds may awaken in all hearts. May Ularu's heartbeat resound within us. May Katachuta remind us that many are one. May the coral, the shell, and the desert sands sing together as a chorus of remembrance. I stand now as a living channel of peace. Through me, through us, the dreaming awakens. And so it is. Beautifully. Could you feel it? Can you sense it? Can you sense the importance of it? Can you bring your energy back from whatever opinions, whatever fear, whatever external focus that you have allowed yourself to be distracted to, and come home to where you belong, right here, right now. So this prophecy, this is what I was told. This is what it is, the dreaming of the prophecy. Before time was measured, this land breathed in the rhythm of song lines, currents of sound and light that wove together sky, earth, waters, and people. These song lines are not only stories, they are the circuitry of creation. The ancient custodians knew the south holds the root. The deepest grounding point of Gaia's body is anchored here, in red desert stone, crystalline waters, and sky fields unbroken. The north holds the crown. In other lands, energies rise and disperse here. Whilst they do that, here in the south, energies descend and root, completing the circuit. Australia was kept quiet, while empires rose and fell elsewhere, and continent held stillness. This continent held stillness. Its codes were preserved in silence, awaiting the time of global upheaval when stillness would be most needed. The prophecy carried through whispers. When the world turns upside down, the South shall rise, not in war, but in peace. When voices cry in confusion, the song of the land shall steady them. When nations crumble, the root shall remember wholeness, and from here the new earth shall rise. The land speaks. Uluru, the solar plexus of the earth, but also the great drumbeat of remembrance. When activated, it sends a pulse through all other portals. And, we know that for the crystal that is underneath Uluru was activated a few years ago. Katachuta, the many heads, is a symbol of unity in diversity, showing that peace is not sameness, but harmony. The coastlines and waters, where coral and shell spiral, storing Atlantean and Lemurian memory, rising now to integrate ancient with the future. It is so important that we remember that. So finally, the role of the people to fulfill this prophecy. The ancestors saw beyond race, beyond tribe. They knew future custodians would come from all lineages, from all corners of the globe, guided by spirit, to walk this land and reawaken its codes. The prophecy is not only for the first people, not only for new arrivals, it is for all who hear the call to anchor peace here. The dreaming says, the land chooses its voices. You are among those chosen. Not to own, not to claim, but to transmit. To let the land speak through you. Wow, pretty powerful, isn't it? It's so interesting to me because I do believe in destiny. I believe that we have a soul script. And the more that I have dedicated my life to fulfilling my purpose for incarnation, which was my soul contract, the more I see in the big picture how I was moved to be exactly where I needed to be. So my journey was interesting because as a child, of course, I was born into the Second World War, occupied territory of the Netherlands. And after the war, it got, a little bit disruptive in Europe. My parents, or my father, decided to move to Indonesia. He had a job there to go to, and we followed him. But only when we got there, we fell into the civil war of Mr. Sukarno, and it became very unsafe once more for us to live there. So 2.5 years later, we returned to Europe, where of course it was overcrowded because everyone who had lived down in the Indonesian islands all saved their lives by going back to what was then a safer place. And it became very overcrowded. So my parents looked to go elsewhere. And the first place we were all packed to go to was Peru. Now, that was really important in my journey because ultimately I returned to Peru to do my shamanic work. But at the time, I was only, I think, 13 going on to 14 when my parents were talking about leaving Europe again. And so at the last minute, as we were all ready and had our bags packed, we were told, that my brother and I, that no, we weren't going to South America. We were going to a place called Australia, which we knew nothing about. It was interesting to me because when I was a very young girl, and I remember probably when I was about 7 or so, I was very introverted. After the war, I was terrified of the world. And I used to lie in my bed and I would pretend to speak a language called English. I had never heard it, didn't know what it was supposed to be. And in my imagination, I used to play out these roles where I would speak this language to groups of people. And I would lie in the bed, and I don't know what it could have sounded like. It's a bit like light language, I presume. So it was already destined for me to be in an English-speaking country. And Peru wasn't that. So we arrived here, and anyway, that is the beginning of my story here. Other than within 6 months, I was able to speak a pretty good level of English with a limited amount of foreign accent. So it was always in me, and I share that with you because whatever your script, whatever your purpose for your incarnation, it's within you. It's not out there. It's within you. And when I look at what I've been doing for the last 40 years, I know that it was all destined. This was my path. And yet, my resonance of ancientness is actually in South America. But my purpose was to awaken the codes of this land. So here I am speaking to you, and I'm seeing in front of me as the world has turned upside down. And this prophecy needs to be fulfilled. And we, all of you who are listening to this video today, you are called. This is a call to action, not out there, in here. It is time for you to go within and to say, okay, I'm not sure why, but I have landed here in this land, which is to be the root chakra of the new earth of peace, love, and well-being for all. So to be able to do that, I need to become that. Because it's only by becoming that within myself and to radiate that in all of my relationships in my environment, can I be of any support, guidance, any use? Can I fulfill my prophecy by fulfilling this prophecy? Yes, it's not a call to arms, it's a call to peace. So please, please, please comment. Tell me how you feel about this particular energy that is coming through today. It can be overwhelming, but we have to step up. We have to step up. And the more we do, the more the peace will be within us so we can radiate it. So pull your energy back to here, to this land, and do watch that little video because it tells you all about how this land is the safest place to live. I know that. You know that. We live in a beautiful country. It's only when we get distracted and we think we have to be invested in other people's chaos, in other people's distortions, in other people's fears, that we lose our connection to here. So let's all bring ourselves and each other together, because that is what unity conscious is all about. So, as always, please share, please comment. I love your comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then please continue to do and subscribe and like, because when you like it and you click that bell, you'll be it will be announced when I do my next video. And the information that's coming through at the moment is so fast and furious, but furiously good. We are moving into a better world. People are standing up and saying enough. They're coming back to their innate humanness, which is pure love, unconditional, peace, insisting, and well-being for all, of course. Not just on this land, but all over this beautiful planet. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And as always, we finish this video with a meditation. And that meditation is going to be short but powerful, although I'm not sure about being that short. It is important to realize that my meditations aren't just for going within and drifting off. They are activations within you. So please repeat them. And may I just say that if you heard a little sound in the background of my beautiful Burmese cat, then let me just remind you that we're not the only ones that are going through the frequency changes. Our animals are doing this also. So take care of you and take care of your beautiful companions on this planet. So get yourself comfortable and get ready for another very powerful meditation and activation. So as always, I draw your attention to your breath. And as you very slowly close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath right into your belly. And on the exhale, release any tensions. Allow your body to settle. Allow it to become gentle. And another deep breath. Just watch the oxygen fill your lungs and then be distributed through every cell of your body. And gently exhale, just letting go, releasing all tension. Feel the land beneath you. Whether you stand upon Australian soil or far across the seas, know that this land's root energy extends through the earth to touch you now. Imagine the red desert of Uluru. See its great stone rising, ancient and alive. Hear its deep heartbeat echoing through the earth, calling you, calling all. Hear its deep heartbeat echoing. With each pulse, feel your own solar plexus awaken, reminding you of your strength, your steadiness. Now see Katachuta, the many heads of stone, standing together as a family. They whisper, "We are many, yet we are one." Let that unity fill your heart. We are indeed many, yet we are one. Above you, a golden sphere of light forms. This is the new earth, luminous, radiant, waiting to be born. As you breathe, the sphere descends, until it rests within your chest. You are the anchor. You are the ley line. You are the prophecy fulfilled. Breathe this golden light into the earth. Breathe it. Spread it. See it spread across oceans and continents, calming storms of fear, soothing nations in turmoil, carrying peace into the hearts of all. See it spread. See it transform the fears. See it settle the turmoils of all nations, of all peoples of the earth. It's carrying peace into all hearts. Now whisper within. Australia anchors peace. Humanity awakens. The new earth is born through us, for us, by all. Now stay in this radiance for several more breaths. Feel it, own it, be it. You are enveloped by this beautiful golden light of the new earth. Allow every cell of your body to resonate with it, to vibrate with it, and feel your frequency become alive with it. And know this is your truth. This is your purpose. And this is your time. Peacefully, joyfully embrace the honor to be chosen to fulfill this prophecy. And so it is. Just stay in this radiance for a few more breaths. And then when you are ready, bring your attention slowly back to the present. But bring with you the peace, the love, the joy. And when you are ready, gently, gently open your eyes. Carrying the codes of peace with you into the world, into your presence, into your community. We are the people we've been waiting for, and the wait is over. So how are we all feeling? Just wriggle your body a little and take another really deep breath. And feel that breath is your connection to Source. It is the life force that enters you, asking to be fulfilled into peace, into love, into harmony. Wow, what an amazing journey. If you feel aligned with this, please share. And not just share, but live it, become it. Bring it into your heart and bring it into your intention and attention. That all you have to do and be to live in a new earth is to be it. Because that is the only way it can be birthed. It is the only way that we can ever experience it, by becoming the equivalent vibrational frequency of it. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me once more. I look forward to reading your comments. I look forward to a return. I look forward to seeing the effect on this land of the work we are doing. And the only way that we can see that effect is by spreading the light, spreading the peace, and spreading the love. So, thank you. This has been an amazing journey with you. As always, I love you, but please love yourself more. And I'll see you next time. Let's make it happen. The new earth is here. Bye-bye.